Hi, I'm Rachel Beck, and I'm a senior consultant at mbaMission, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Columbia Business School essays for 2018-2019. So Columbia has four main essays for this coming admissions year. The first essay is, through your resume and recommendations, we have a clear sense of your professional path to date. What are your career goals over the next 3 to 5 years, and what in your imagination would be your long-term dream job? This is a 500-word essay. The second essay is, how will you take advantage of being at the very center of business? This is a short 250-word essay. The next essay is, please provide an example of a team failure of which you have been part of. If given a second chance, what would you do differently? This is also a short 250-word essay. And the last essay is their optional essay. Is there any further information that you wish to provide the admissions committee? If so, use this space to provide an explanation of any areas of concern in your academic record or your personal history. This does not have to be a formal essay. You may submit bullet points. This has a maximum of 500 words. We're going to tackle each of these essays. So the first essay is the main career question. And even though the school says they have your resume and your recommendation, so they have a clear sense of your professional path to date, I really feel that you need to give some professional background, because they can't understand your career goals if they don't understand where you've come from. So I like to showcase some past strengths and accomplishments and how they lead to future goals. It also will help you identify why you need this MBA, right? If you can't just say, I want to go work in brand management and have previously worked at a hedge fund, if you don't really show your path from where you've come from. So I think this is really important. You want to lay out believable career goals. Remember that the school has asked you very specifically, what are your career goals over the next 3 to 5 years, but also what your dream job is. And I always say, keep your dreams hinged on reality. You don't want to make something unrealistic. I had a client who tried to tackle this question recently and started talking about, well, I want to be CEO of Amazon. Well, who doesn't? But that's not a really realistic goal. So we really want your dream job to be something that's really based on some sort of reality. Even though the question does not ask why Columbia, I think it's really crucial to explain why Columbia is the right school for you to achieve your goals. So in this question in particular, I want you to focus on the academics and experiential learning opportunities that Columbia will offer you. That will really help you show the school that you need the Columbia MBA as a bridge between your past and future experiences. Moving on to question number 2. This is at the very center of business question. And I think too many applicants get stuck on the word business. And what they don't really think about is how being in New York, which is the center of business, but it's the center of a lot of things also, is going to help enhance your MBA experience. What I like to tell my clients to do is first think about what opportunities afford you in New York City. What are you going to use New York City for during your MBA studies? Also, what do you want to get out of your educational experience? Think of New York City as an extension of the classroom. So first, be able to articulate that. Then step back and think, what does Columbia offer you that can reach these things in New York City? There are clubs, associations, master classes, immersion seminars, in-semester internships, speaker series, you name it. Columbia is connected to things in New York City. So what does Columbia offer you that is going to help you reach to this very center of business? And then take another step back and think, what do you have to offer? If you want to be somebody who is involved in private equity, maybe you've been in that industry before and you can share your own network. If you're somebody who's been very involved in volunteer work and you want to continue building on that when you're in business school, you can share those experiences when you're volunteering for the Harlem Tutorial Program or other community service things in New York. All of those things will enhance your Columbia experience. Something really important in this essay is don't just think about it as a professional essay. You want to show Columbia that there are all these different facets of you and how you're going to utilize New York City to grow as a person and a professional. So that can be, yes, professional things you want to get out of it. It can be community-focused things that are important to you. It can be social things that are important to you. And I think that's really important to keep in mind. Columbia does not give you a lot of space in this year's essays to talk about things outside of, let's say, work. So you want to use what they're giving you, and this is one of those essays. Moving on to the failure question. What's important about this essay question is reading it closely. They don't say that you have to write about a professional failure. They say you can write about a failure. So there might be something that you've done in an outside experience that you've considered a failure. I also want you to really think about ideas that can highlight your character. You have to be part of a team that's working that has failed. So keep that in mind. So it can't be that I observed a failure. You have to be part of the team that had this failure. But it might be that you recognize something when this failure was happening that can really highlight your character. You also want to think of an engaging way to tell this story. You want it to be captivating. You don't want it to be, you know, we were going to do this project and then this happened and then we failed. Boring. You want to tell a story. You want the reader, who's the admissions committee, to really want to keep listening to what you're saying in your story. And you really want to get to the end, which is the conclusion, is really what you've learned from the experience. A very important point here. You don't have to tie this essay at all to Columbia Business School. As I've been working with clients over the last few months on this essay, there seems to be this tendency to want to talk about, well, if I was in business school, I would take this class, and in this class, I would, learn how to do this better. Nope, you don't need that at all. So remember, you do not have to tie this to Columbia Business School at all. So how do you come up with a failure? Really step back and think about an event or a project that you worked on, or you were unable to get people to sign up for something. Think about something where you had to kind of overcome it to get to the other side. And I think that will help you come up with ideas for this question. It is not an easy one at all. I'll tell you that. So how should you think about the optional question? The optional question is not an opportunity for you to tell the school how much you love the school and why you think you're a good fit. You don't have to write this essay at all. This is a purely optional essay. You don't want to submit an essay for another school that you think is really good for the optional essay. No. If you have a particular issue that needs explaining, that's what the optional essay is for. So it's the opportunity to say, I don't think my quant score on my GMAT really reflects my quantitative ability. I do data analytics. I spend all day, every day building models. I don't think that the GMAT is a fair assessment of my quantitative ability. Or I didn't have a great start to college. I found it very difficult to get over the transition from leaving home and moving 3,000 miles away. So my first semester was really weak. But once I got into my major and found a network on campus, I ended up bouncing back and I finished my final 2 years, on high dean's list or whatever it might be. That's what the optional essay is for. Even though Columbia gives you 500 words, I don't think I've ever seen somebody use the 500 words. In fact, the best optional essays are a paragraph or two at the most. So here are some tips for effective writing, okay, that I think will help you complete strong essays, okay? First of all, always keep the question at the top of your essay drafts, so you're reminded exactly what you're supposed to answer. People who don't do that tend to drift in directions and they're not sure where they're going. And so having the question on the top of every draft helps you stay focused. Before you write a word, really think about what stories do you want to tell? What's important for the AdCom to know? That will help you figure out what stories to include and what stories not to include. Not every story has to go into a series of essays for a school. Read your copy out loud. I'd say from the start, in fact, you will find mistakes. You will hear the difference when you start reading things out loud. You'll find phrasing that doesn't sound great. You'll hear when you're repetitive. And I think it's a great tip. I was a journalist for 18 years. I'd read every single one of my stories and columns out loud to myself because I knew I was going to find things that weren't perfect. Remember, your story, and this last point is really important, is more than just what you've done professionally. Business schools want well-rounded applicants. They want people who are interesting and different and spirited and leaders and willing to go out on a limb and take on things that other people aren't willing to do. And so they're looking for you to be diverse. So just writing about your job isn't diverse. Think about how you can differentiate yourself. So in closing, we have a lot of great resources at mbaMission for you. First of all, check out our essay analysis for CBS and other top schools at www.mbaMission.com/blog. Great information there. We also have insider guides for, I believe, 16 of the top schools. So you can go to our website, www.mbaMission.com/guides, and you can do a deep dive into any of the schools you're interested in, including Columbia. And if you're interested in having your profile assessed or talking more about any school's essays, we're happy to jump on the phone with you for a 30-minute free consultation. Sign up with us. It's free. There's no strings attached. You'll get a lot from it. Thanks so much for coming today. I'm Rachel Beck with mbaMission.